Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
Welcome everyone to the MMA Weekly with Austin and Chef Dan. I am Austin. This is my co-host Chef Dan. How you doing today, Chef Dan?
Salute to you, Austin. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you guys so much for joining us, whether that be on the YouTube platform or you're joining us on the podcast platform, whether that be Anchor, Google, Apple, Spotify, or Spreaker. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you guys. We appreciate the love, support wherever you listen and watch us. And well, let's get right into it. It's Friday night. We had Bellator 284 from South Dakota in the main event between Goiti Yamauchi and Neiman Gracie in the welterweight division. As Yamauchi wins via second round KO in the second round from an uppercut, a very devastating uppercut. I mean, my good. I love the sequence, everything that led up to it, because Neiman Gracie tried pull guard. Hang on, Dan, you there? I saw you froze, so I was wondering if you're still there.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Gracie tried pull guard, and Yamauchi didn't go into it to the point where Neiman had to step up, and Neiman was throwing some jabs, several jabs that landed too, and Yamauchi just ate him. He was like doing this, leaning forward, like going to him to come at him, like come on, like a movie stuff, and then he just hits him with a beautiful, sick uppercut. That's them going for a flying knee there. It wasn't the up. That was nice, but that uppercut, he knocked him out bad with that uppercut, and Yamauchi wins against the number 5 ranked Neiman Gracie. And I mentioned Yamauchi's got hands. He's underrated stand-up. We know him as a submission guy. Neiman Gracie, we know him as a submission guy. Both guys have good striking, and we saw a lot of striking in this matchup. And Yamauchi was the better striker of the two. It was evident in this fight. In the first round too, he dropped Neiman Gracie. The point Neiman fell on one knee, and here he lands the uppercut, knocks him out, and great victory for Yamauchi. He's known as a submission guy. He's got 21 submission victories. For his last 2 fights, he's won via KO, and great performance by him.
It was a great performance by Goiti Yamauchi. Really, that second round when he started to eat the punches and really take them on the forehead so he wouldn't take a lot of damage, it was like, kind of to let everyone know he wasn't respecting Neiman Gracie's striking, and you kind of saw that throughout the first round too. He didn't respect Neiman Gracie's striking. Neiman Gracie tried inviting him plenty of times on the bottom, and it wasn't. Goiti was not going to invite that type of action there, and he got him where he wanted him to. It was just a stellar performance by Goiti Yamauchi, and it just showed that, he just showed that night he was levels ahead of Neiman Gracie.
Yeah, definitely. And Yamauchi is a Brazilian black belt, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and he was trained under the Gracie family himself. So he mentioned the Gracies were basically inspiration, and now he beats a Gracie member in MMA. So it's kind of full circle for him. So yeah, great victory for Yamauchi, and I just didn't fight anyone in the top 5. He mentioned anybody else in the top 5 he wants to fight, so that makes sense. Where to get him next, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Yamauchi, because Yamauchi is a pretty exciting fighter. You gotta win by submission or by knockouts, and a lot of fighters need to be worried about his hands now.
Yeah, this was a stellar performance by Goiti Yamauchi that I think overall helped put the just the whole card over and help the card, coast to being a solid card, because the next fight wasn't that. It wasn't that.
Right, the next fight at co-main event was the heavyweight fight between Valentin Moldavsky and Steve Mari. No contest, accidental eye poke, and it just a flame because Moldavsky landed like 2 or 3 or 4 right hands that got Mari clean. And I thought that he was probably going to finish him, hand him his first L, especially because he definitely looked like the faster fighter of the two. Just came in, just throwing rights, overhand rights, landing too. And I mentioned Mari, all his victories have either been by KO or submission. And Moldavsky's been rocked in his last 2 fights, so I thought he might get finished, and we never got the answer. An eye poke just killed everything, just leaves us feel bummed out. And that's what it is.
It is, I have no... I'm not even going to wonder or what if with this fight. Maybe they reschedule it, or maybe these 2 guys move on. But Valentin's on it. He's looking for, aspirations to get the gold. So whatever his next move is, we know he's going to try and get one step closer to fighting Ryan Bader.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely agree. Sucks. Hopefully, Mari can recover. Hopefully, he can recover and fight again. Hopefully soon. Because it was a legit eye poke. It wasn't him like milking it or anything. It was definitely legit. Especially by his reaction when the fight got called off. It was no acting like that one guy in one when Aliyah fought him. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But from there, we can move on from that fight to the next fight on the main card. Aliyah McFarland versus Bruno Ellen. Aliyah McFarland wins this fight via unanimous decision, and I don't know. I'm not too upset about the unanimous decision, because Aliyah she definitely controlled most of the fight. There were the stand-up. As time wore on, Bruno Ellen had a better stand-up game than Aliyah, and Aliyah had to rely on her wrestling. She was able to mix it up enough to get it to positions to where she could control and deal damage to Bruno Ellen. Really, if anyone has any qualms about this fight, I'd say you'd have to watch the 3rd round. That's the most up in the air round for me, because I think Bruno Ellen won the 2nd round. I think Aliyah won the 1st one. But that one, I wasn't too upset at the decision, but there were some people that I saw online that were talking about it and thought that Bruno Ellen possibly had a chance to win this fight. But what did you see from this?
The first round, Aliyah definitely won. She looked like the better striker. Well, early on, she looked like a better striker early on, like you mentioned. But then as the fight kept going, Bruno started landing more and was doing much better the striking. That's what happened here. As I thought Aliyah won the first round, because I thought she was getting the better the striking. I feel like Bruno was missing a lot of her shots early on. When she landed, there was some power behind it, but she was missing a lot. Aliyah was winning, and then Aliyah went for a takedown, got the takedown, and then did some strikes at the top in the round, won there. 2nd round, at first, when I watched it, I thought Aliyah just barely won, because I feel like Bruno at in the clinch situation, she landed some good shots, and I thought Aliyah landed a little bit more watching it at first, but then when I watch it again, I see why people think Bruno won the 2nd round. So I definitely think Bruno won the 2nd round, considering she did damage Aliyah. Aliyah had like a bruise on her left eye, and as Aliyah couldn't go for she trained for a takedown but didn't have success. And then the 3rd round, like you said, it's the round that's kind of questionable. because Eliminate went for a takedown. She got it, but Bruno just got up quickly. And then Bruno went for a takedown as Eliminate put her head in position. No, excuse me, Bruno went for a guillotine, my bad, as Eliminate was going for another takedown. And the guillotine was tight, too. It was tight. But Eliminate did something very smart that I got to give her a lot of credit for. She used the cage as her defense. Go ahead.
She used the cage and used her arm to push into a Von Flute choke to get Bruno Ellen out of the Bruno Ellen to let go of the guillotine. And at that point, that was where I think that's where people have the have a lot of their misgivings for us, because both of them each tried a submission attempt. I'd say Eliminate was more successful in what she got out of her attempt, but then after that, she had plenty of time to get up, posture up, and rain down some punches, but she was just gassed. So she just held in control there. So it's like people kind of want to, dismiss the control time.
Right. And Eliminate used the fence that way to put the Von Flute choke. And I was thinking, if she gets the Von Flute choke, it's submission of the year, hands down, because to go from being nearly choked out by a guillotine to potentially choking on your opponent would have been amazing. But she didn't get the submission. It was just enough to let Bruno Ellen let go of the choke, because she was about to get submitted herself. And that's not something you see often, a fighter using the cage as a way to get out of a submission and play out their own submission. So I got to give Eliminate a ton of credit there, because that was very creative, very intelligent. Shows a good fight IQ there as well. And she landed some strikes on top as well. And I think that, the Von Flute choke submission and then some of the strikes, including the elbow she landed on top in the final 30 seconds. I think that's what won her the third round. And that's why I have no problem giving her this fight. Great performance. She definitely in this win. She had lost 2 in a row. She stopped a 2-fight losing streak. And her first victory since 2019. She only fought once in 2020, which as you see the image of the fight there, she fought once in 2020, lost her belt to Juliana Vasquez, came back earlier this year in April, lost to Justine Kish, and she got a bounce back victory too. And there was some question marks with her, considering she was talking about retirement and whether or not her heart was still in it, and she showed that her heart's still in it, and she still wants to compete. She still got that dog in her. So great victory for her.
Yeah, awesome victory. As we can move on from that fight to the next fight on the main card. We have Gokhan Sarukhan versus Syed Zoma. Gokhan Sarukhan wins this fight via split decision. And a lot of people disagreed with this decision, and I was one of the people. I thought Syed Zoma won this fight, because throughout the fight, it's just, it wasn't even specific rounds I could say, watching this fight. What I remember was just Syed Zoma had plenty of moments of controlling time on Gokhan, and he was able to land damage in those controlling times. And it's one thing to just control, but if you're active during that control, I'll give you the round more so than someone, knocking you down a couple of times with some flash knockdowns, but then they can't capitalize on it. Because if they can't really capitalize on it, or at least shift the dynamic of the fight, then the knockdowns kind of seem like flash.
I agree with you there. Totally agree with you that your analysis. That's a great point. It didn't change the dynamic of the fight, those knockdowns, which is a flash knockdown. And it's hard for me to give someone a round where they only have a flash knockdown and the other guy did more in that fight, had more activity. So yeah, I totally agree. Great point there. You said it better than I could have put it. That was a great point.
Yeah, but within the same note, what I can say is this is something how do I say this? Maybe Syed Zoma takes this away from him. Takes this away from this fight. Is that from now on, as an MMA fighter, the judges are not your best friend. Even if you think you have the perfect game plan and you've outstrucken this guy, gotten all this control time and gotten all those factors, the judges are not your best friend. The best way to end the fight is on your terms, and that's by going for the finish. Next time, Syed Zoma should go for the finish, and that way he doesn't leave it in the judge's hands to, get a split decision.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Great point. It needs to, you gotta fight all. You gotta do more. You can't leave it in the judge's hands. And if you're going to do it where you gave it all, you just couldn't finish the guy. Don't do something where you barely, where you barely do enough, or you think you did enough to convince the judges. That's the worst thing a fighter can do, is think it did enough to convince the judges of a victory when they didn't, and it usually bites them and bits Zoma here. So yeah, hopefully this is a learning lesson to just go all out and just do everything you can to win a fight. Even if you can't get the finish, still at least it's better knowing that you dominate someone to the point where they can't screw you over, or the judges can't screw you over, than to do something to where you leave it in the judges' hands where it's questionable. So yeah, totally agree with your statement there.
Oh yeah. So then from there we could move on from that fight to the first fight on the main card. And this one was a big surprise there. Austin Vanderford versus Aaron Jeffrey. Aaron Jeffrey wins via TKO as he just rocks Austin Vanderford with 2 right hooks, and they were placed perfectly. Like, some people questioned live whether it was behind the head, but when you saw the replay and it slowed down, it was right under the ear. There's a picture of it, but there's right under the ear on the jawline, right under the ear, right there. And he was able to catch him clean twice. It knocked him down the first time. He was able to get back up, but the second time, that was it. And Austin Vanderford tried grappling to get out of the situation, but Aaron Jeffrey was money with that right hook. And just throughout the fight, like, what was, that much time in the first round, Aaron Jeffrey just displayed it with the striking, man. Austin Vanderford needs to continue working on the striking, but this was a great knockout to start off the main card. What did you see, Austin?
Yeah, Aaron Jeffrey is a guy who had an opportunity and took advantage of it and won, because Aaron Jeffries came in on 8 days' notice. Austin Vanderford was supposed to play someone else, Anthony Adams, and also Aaron Jeffries stepped in 8 days, and it seemed like he was in shape the whole time, and he showed it here. He knocked Vanderford down with the right hook. You mentioned, it was underneath the ear, in the jawline, not back of the head, and also Vanderford survived it and tried to initiate the grappling, but Jeffries is able to get off, avoid getting taken down and break the clinch and hit him with that second right hook, same place, and that was it. Good night, Irene. And Aaron Jeffries, you want to talk about making an opportunity, capitalizing on opportunity? He did it right there. Great job for him, being a guy, Austin Vanderford, who was come off the title loss to Gegard Mousasi, and for Vanderford, he definitely needs to work on his striking defense, etc. Because, Vanderford's had 2 back-to-back tough losses. The Gegard fight ended, I think the same time, mid at 25 seconds. I think both his last 2 fights, mid 25 seconds in the first round.
Yeah.
And it was different. Gegard was that he went for a takedown. Gegard stuffed it, and his head hit the mat, I think. And then that's what led to Gegard and those shots that finished him. And this was just 2 right hooks from Aaron Jeffries that finished him. So, yeah, Vanderford, like I said, he's talented, but he definitely needs to work on his striking defense and, striking, etc. And, and hopefully he can bounce back, which I think he's capable of. He trains at American Top Team. His teammate Johnny Evelyn is the champ at Bellator, so got a good training partner in Johnny Evelyn. So great victory for Aaron Jeffries.
Most definitely. That's it for the main card there. What would you grade the main card overall, though, as you were watching it after the end of the main event? What did you grade the overall main card?
I'll give like a B-, because of the first fight, the last fight, and the Illinois McFarlane fight was pretty entertaining, especially that third round, very dramatic. And like I said, that William Lee did to avoid getting choked out of guillotine, I thought was very impressive. Like I said, a B-. Like I said, the co-main event, it was deflating, and then the heavyweight fight wasn't the greatest fight in the world. Not gonna lie.
Okay. Me, I roughly around the same range as you. I gave it a C+. That's what I felt at the end. It was like an average card, but a little bit better than average. Is there anyone you want to shout out in the preliminaries before we end our discussion on Bellator?
Yes, Pat Downey. he's a collegiate wrestler, very talented high wrestler who won his MMA debut again by his arm triangle first round against Keys Nelson. Took him down, just got the arm triangle, and just like that, 36 seconds, it was over. Impressive victory, impressive debut. The guy's got personality. If you see some of the stuff on social media, I was on MMA Junkie and MMA websites, and they were talking about him and his personality. And the guy's definitely got a nice personality, and I think he's going to be a guy we're going to hear a lot of in Bellator the next couple of years. And he wants to fight Bo Nickal. Him and Bo Nickal have wrestling matches against each other. He's 0-2 against Bo Nickal, but they were like competitive, close wrestling bouts. So it's not like he's getting dominant at Bo Nickal, and Bo Nickal is highly touted by everybody, rightfully so. So this is a guy to look out for, Pat Downey.
All right. For me, the fighter that I want to shout out from the preliminaries is Deonna Bennett. She won her rematch against Justine Kitch, and it was a good fight. But like I said, I expected this fight to be what it was. It was going to be slow paced, a lot of chess match, a lot of them knowing each other well enough that they can go back and forth, and it was mostly grappling. That's what it was. They ended up not striking so much, and they took it mostly down to the ground, and saw a lot of interesting grappling from those two. So salute to Deonna Bennett for her win in the rematch.
Also, I do want to mention Sullivan Colley for an impressive knee knockout. He threw two Muay Thai clinch knees and knocked out Tyson Jeffries. It was impressive because you see guys throw Muay Thai, knees in the clinch, but you never see them knock guys out as often. It's back in the day, it seems like, and he got it here, and very impressive. I mean, he knocked Tyson out badly. I mean, those were legit knockouts. Someone give Sullivan Colley a shout out. He gets a knockout in a minute 39 seconds in the first round.
Most definitely. So if that's it, the preliminaries were also very solid there. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, four finishes in the preliminaries out of 7 fights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights. 4 finishes out of 7 fights. It was a solid preliminary card. Like we say, guys, all the time, the preliminaries, they're on YouTube for free, so always check them out on Bellator.
Yeah, yep, exactly. On YouTube channel.
You can always rewatch any of these 4 finishes that happen in the Bellator channel. As we move on from Bellator to what happened Saturday night, Marlon Chito Vera versus Dominick Cruzs in the bantamweight division. This here decides a lot, and it did decide a lot. As we're gonna start off with the main event here. Marlon Chito Vera wins via KO, a head kick in the 4th round. I believe this is the first guy ever to finish Dominick Cruzs.
No, Uriah Faber did it back in the day. It was guillotine.
Yeah. But all right. So then, this is the first time ever that Dominick Cruzs has been knocked out clean, though.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. This was how do I say this? As well as Dominick Cruzs was doing throughout the fight, and he was doing very well. He won the first 2 rounds. And I'm going to get through some of the round-by-round analysis. The knockout was coming. You saw it based on the way that Chito Vera, when he touched Dominick Cruzs, it always changed the landscape of the fight. And this is what I meant in, a prior analysis in a Bellator fight with the Syed Zoma fight. And I'm not saying that yes, when Chito got his knockdowns against Dominick definitely did go back to his style of darting in and out, landing his shots on Chito. Whenever Chito got close, he got his flurries out to kind of make him back up and gain control of the octagon. But every time he knocked down Dominick, you saw Dominick start to slow down with the footwork. He started to get a little flat-footed and be comfortable where he was. And that's all Chito was looking for as he started to close in. And you know, there's even a tweet as someone put out, someone from the UFC put out a video literally prior to the 4th round. Coach Nixon, he tweets out, I'm seeing Dominick dip down to his right a lot. You know, a left head kick, that would change, that would just about finish things for Chito Vera. And lo and behold, Chito was diagnosing the same things, and that's what happened to Dominick, as Dominick was dipping down because Chito was catching him with that right hand. Chito being the southpaw, the jab was really, you know, that jab was doing a lot to Dominick Cruzs, as we saw throughout the fight. Even though Dominick, you know, came out on top in the first 2 rounds, that jab that kept landing for Chito Vera, it just, you know, whether it sometimes knocked Dominick to the side or it knocked him down. And credit to Dominick Cruzs, there was a round, I think the 2nd round, where he got knocked down, where I felt even though he got knocked down, he still won the round because of what he was.
Yeah, round 1.
It was round 1 he got knocked down? Okay. Round 1 he got knocked down, where I felt like, all right, even though he got knocked down, he still came out on top because he knew what to do, him being the consummate veteran that he was. But this was something that, credit to Anthony Smith, he was on the call after the fight. He said that he felt that he saw the knockdown coming because he saw the knockout coming because the amount of activity that Dominick had to do just to stay ahead of Chito Vera, even though Chito was being very calm, you know, just step by step, he was like a shark in the water waiting for his moment to strike. Like, the amount of activity Dominick had to do to stay active, you could do to stay ahead. You can do that for 3 rounds, but for 5 rounds, at some point, your gas tank is gonna betray you, along with the guy as he lands these shots on you, whether they, you know, regardless of whether they're spaced out or in, you know, in bunches, the damage stays and it has some effect. And that's what I saw throughout this fight. And I kind of called it last week. I felt that Chito Vera, like, for this weight division, man, he has a power that presents a problem for any fighter in this division. And this was just, you know, an impressive performance for Chito Vera, because he was patient and he was willing to give up those 2 rounds in the beginning. And he quite possibly could have given up that 3rd round as well. There was, you know, Dominick had enough activity where I thought that, you know, if he didn't get knocked down again in that 3rd round, he would have gotten that 3rd round. But it was a chess match by Chito Vera, but also a great chess match by Dominick Cruzs too. And salute to him. And man, watching that kick in the replay, you could see Dominick's nose get broken on the impact right there. It was just it was a great matchup overall, though, by those two. What did you see, Austin?
Man, this fight, it was a mixed emotions for me, because Dominick Cruzs is one of my all-time favorite fighters, and I'm a Chito Vera fan. It's kind of funny that Chito Vera's knocked out 2 of my all-time favorite fighters, Frankie Edgar and Dominick Cruzs, and yeah, I still like Chito Vera. That's how much I enjoy his episode, Joe Rogan episode with Chito Vera back in December, so much, and seeing him action Bronson made me a big Chito Vera fan. And Chito Vera's an exciting fighter too, as well. I gotta give him credit too. He's exciting. I don't think there's ever been a boring Chito Vera fight. I don't think you can find one if you tried. But yeah, this was a very good main event, excellent main event to me. Dominick Cruzs won the first 2 rounds, and he was doing a lot of activity, and I felt like he kind of had to, because one thing about Chito Vera, and I think it might buy him the ass later on. Excuse my language, but is that he sometimes is slow. Sometimes he like waits till like the last minute or so of a round, especially early on, to really do something. And it worked well against Rob Font, and it worked here against Dominick. Dominick won the first 2 rounds because Chito Vera was very calm, and I think part of it is also due to Dominick Cruzs and activity. But sometimes that calmness and not doing things like last minute can really screw you over in a fight. And I feel like, and here it hurt in the first 2 rounds, although he did drop Dominick in that first round, but Dominick got up like immediately and really just did more activity and landed more, and even took Chito Vera down in both rounds 1 and 2 that he won. He took Chito down. And it was, I think, round 1 or round 2, after the takedown, as Chito was getting up, he was just leg kicking him in the leg, which I like, because it does more damage to Chito. It gives the judges something to score, and also it gives Chito. It puts that in Chito's head. Hey, you gotta watch out for leg kicks, since Dominick might kick my leg. And when Dominick would attack the body and do a leg kick, it sometimes opened Chito's head to get hit. Now, Chito did block a lot of those shots with his arms, and also kind of like you mentioned, Bellator Yamauchi like leans his forehead forward, take the damage itself. But some of them were landing, and it did well for him in the first 2 rounds. And that third round, like I said, Chito did a little more activity, and Dominick was doing a lot of activity, but it was slowing down a little bit. And Chito did knock down Dominick that won that third round. And in the fourth round, Dominick got knocked down before the head kick. He got up like immediately, and then there was a point where Dominick caught a kick from Chito Vera and like threw like a left that knocked Chito down. It was all balanced, but still knocked him down. Chito got up immediately. So going in that fourth round, man, I'm thinking, ooh, it's gonna be a competitive round. I think, damn, I wonder what's gonna happen to win this. Who's gonna win? What's gonna happen? Who's gonna take this round? But then Chito Vera caught him with that head kick, that left head kick that dropped Dominick. And you're right, his nose did break. You watch the replays, his nose kind of gets broken and kind of moves a little bit like this way, like this way to his right. So I tried to demonstrate, and his nose was broken on impact, and the blood was coming out, and it was over. And it was over. Yeah, you can tell there was no controversy. It was legit knockout. It wasn't Cejudo and Dominick Cruzs, which I thought was a little bit controversial myself. I know some people disagree, but this was clearly a knockout, badly. And Dominick Cruzs does not get knocked out at all. And this was, for Dominick Cruzs fan, it was sad seeing Cruz get knocked out. But at the same time, this wasn't a case where Cruz should retire, like some people are saying. No way. Cruz won the first 2 rounds.
No.
Cruz was competitive.
And there's something we both forgot to mention this, which gave Cruz a big edge in the first 3 rounds, and even the round that he lost, the 3rd round, which I thought, he had some competitive bias to even win that round without the knockdowns. His grappling, him being able to take down Chito Vera and then control those moments in the grappling and land some shots there. They weren't all too powerful, but they were enough to score and land some shots. Any other fighter, this is lending to the point that you said about Chito Vera. If there's a younger version of Dominick Cruzs in the division, and I'm not even saying a younger version of exactly Dominick Cruzs, but I'm saying a younger version of someone who saw what Dominick Cruzs can do, has the abilities to mix the martial arts like that, and is a great striker as well, and can see that Chito Vera takes his time. Like you said, it can bite him in the ass later, because what a guy can do really to mess up his whole game plan. And Chito's confident in his power. Is one thing I give him this. He's confident in his power. He doesn't want to blow his gas tank because he knows he's fighting for 5 rounds. So that's the other part too, is when a guy is confident in his power and he gets a guy wobbled, what he can sometimes do to his detriment, which we're going to talk about in the next fight, is blow his gas tank completely early and be tired for the rest of the fight and have no leg to stand on and have no power to deliver. So that's Chito's plan. I can respect it. But what you can find is somewhere similar to and I'm not saying this guy because his striking level is generational, but someone like an Adesanya, who his game plan essentially is to get in, get out with the striking, right? He can maybe he's more than Adesanya because he can mix in some grappling here and there to get you down, control some time, and then you know what? He'll choose to disengage and play that game with you and say, you know what? I'll play for 5 rounds straight with you. If I can damage you enough to go for the finish, then I'll go for the finish. If not, we'll leave it in the judges' hands. And someone like that can definitely mess up Chito Vera's plan. That I give you kudos to, because that's the type of fighter you're pointing out right there.
Right, and that's what happened with Aldo. Aldo had a lot of power, and then one day Chito Vera got a lot of power going against Chito Vera, because Rob Font outlanded him in their fights, and Rob Font, I think, got finished by Chito Vera. He got beat up badly by Chito Vera in their fight. No, it wasn't a finish. It went to judges. Okay,
it went to judges' decision. But Rob Font, You saw it. He wore the damage, and Chito Vera came out looking clean, even though Rob Font landed 400 plus significant strikes on him.
Right, and Aldo has that power, and we saw in that fight, Aldo threw a lot, landed a lot of shots on Chito to where Chito couldn't do that, and it really hurt Chito Vera badly. And so that's why I think Chito Vera against a lot of these bantamweights, he's going to do well. Even though I mentioned some of the critiques of his style, I think he will do well against most of these bantamweights. Although I think someone like Jan or Aldo rematch could give Chito Vera problems. And some would say Song Yadong, but he beat Song Yadong. I know that
he beat Song Yadong already. Yeah,
bad judging on that fight.
No, but here's what I'm saying. Like, it's funny that you mentioned these guys. Peter Yan, that's someone that could give him problems. Who else you mentioned?
Aldo rematch.
We saw Aldo. He gave out a different manual on how to, take out Chito Vera. But what's funny is a person he already beat, that would have been another person that gave him a huge amount of problems and gave him problems in that round that he, that he beat him in. And that's Sean O'Malley.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True. Yeah. Sean O'Malley can. Yes.
Sean O'Malley is that striker that can give him problems. And that's probably why Sean O'Malley will not acknowledge that loss to this day. Is because he's like, man, if I just check that kick, it'd have been a whole different story to tell.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Good point there. And yeah, I can see what you mean. I think those guys give Chito Vera problems, and maybe Dillashaw. I think the kicks with Dillashaw. If Dillashaw were to win the bouts, because like I said, I mentioned last week, the winner's fight probably will fight for the title next if Merab beats Jose Aldo, which we'll talk about that later on in the show, Merab and Aldo. But right, yeah, I think those guys give Chito Vera problems, and one thing I want to say about Chito Vera is that be careful, don't get kicked by Chito Vera, because Chito Vera can hurt you. Head kick with Dominick, that leg kick with nerve kick with Sean O'Malley. And then there was a fight where he hit someone with a body kick and finished him. I don't remember who, but I think early in his UFC career, he landed a body kick and finished him. It's like basically getting kicked. Go ahead.
And you can never forget the Frankie Edgar kick.
Yes, the front kick against Frankie Edgar, of course, the infamous front kick. I mean, getting kicked by Chito Vera is disaster. That guy's kicks, I mean, he's starting to become Micro Crow Cop with his kicks. I don't think people are getting enough credit for being like that, where his kicks are almost just as deadly, more deadlier than his punches, like Crow Cop was back in the day. I think Chito Vera is starting to become like that. And he landed a super kick on freaking Rob Font in his last fight too.
Yeah,
and he's creative too with his kicks. I mean, that just shows you Chito Vera is man, what a great fighter, and great story, entertaining, great personality. I mean, the whole country of Ecuador is behind it. I saw video footage of people watching on like at restaurants, not like bars, like restaurants, town squares, watching the Chito Vera Cruz fight. And there were some Ecuadorians giving him some love in San Diego. And the crowd was awesome in San Diego. I want to give credit to that San Diego crowd. They gave Dominick his hometown love, despite some of the Ecuadorians giving Chito love, and they gave all the Mexican fighters love too.
Oh, yeah. But this was an awesome main event. Awesome main event. I was highly entertained for all 4 rounds of it. I kind of wish there was a 5th round, but at the same time, Chito Vera does what he does, man. He finishes fights. So salute to him. We know what's coming next for him. Not per se like as far as like a concrete name, but we know the next thing for him is title aspirations. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
As I want to move on from this fight to the next fight, the co-main event. Nate the Train Landwehr versus David Onama. Nate Landwehr wins this fight via majority decision, as one of the judges even had this as a draw down the line, which I don't know what that judge was seeing. I guess he was hyper.
Go ahead.
What happened? Go ahead.
No. Okay, so I can see why, because first round we think you and I agree David Onama won the first round. I mean, it looked like Nate was out. Like he landed sideways. It looked like he was like flat as a wooden board.
It was crazy. They said this on the commentary. It looked like he was knocked out and then David Onama following up woke him up.
Yeah. I think they're right. He was flat. Like I said, he was flat like a wooden board, and the punches woke him up.
Which we have to reference this later on. We're gonna reference this later on, and you know why.
Okay, yeah, and those punches, like I'm surprised Nate Landwehr survived that first round, because Onama put a whooping on him. Like 10-9, I agree, and he beat him up badly, dropped him, landed some good ground and pound, but Onama like made some mistakes where Landwehr was able to get on top of him when he got on the ground. Even though he did no damage to Onama, but Onama kind of like gassed out, and that played a big part in that second round, which could have been 10-8, because Landwehr was putting a whooping on David Onama badly. I mean, dropped him, do some knees in the some knees when they were like in the clinch, and it was like I thought he was out. I thought he was gonna be finished a couple of times too. Onama in the second round. I mean, this fight was crazy, chaotic. I mean, my goodness. Dan, I know you want to say something. Go ahead.
If you give it Nate Landwehr the 10-8 in the second round, isn't it possible to give David Onama the 10-8 in the first round?
No, because it was like the middle of the second round. It's not second round, first round, where Landwehr got dropped. If I remember, I think it was like
it was in the middle of the first round. It was like in the middle of the first round, but Landwehr didn't end up on top of him. They kind of ended up in the clinch. They were grappling up against each other, but Onama was still, throwing heavy shots and wobbling Landwehr whenever he touched him.
You're right. Right, but I feel like that first round was a lot more competitive than the second round. I mean, yes, Onama clearly won, dropped it. I mean, surprisingly to get the finish. I mean, what the crazy. Excuse me. And then the second round, like I said, Onama was getting his, being whooped for 5 rounds.
It was.
Good.
I just wanted to add on to what you were saying. He was getting manhandled. He was being big brother. Like, it was one of those things where Nate Landwehr, he's landing shots on him, and then when he chooses to, he throws him down on the ground with the grappling, and then he throws more shots and then tries for a submission attempt. Onama gets out of it. Well, guess what? I'm going to throw more shots, and then I'm going to toss you around somewhere else, and ragdolled his body everywhere. You're absolutely right. That was a dominant round. Yeah. I'm not arguing that that's a 10-8. I'm not arguing that that's not a 10-8. That's a potential 10-8, but yeah, that's a 10-8.
Great. It's great. Yeah, I like Big Brother, and gotta give David Cormier a shout, because he mentioned that, and he's right. He's just Big Brother, David Onama. In that third round, Onama still looked like he was out, but Onama, I forgot, early in the third round, he did land I want to say a right hand that caught Landwehr, stunned him. It looked like, oh no, oh what? The tide's turning, but Landwehr was able to hurt Onama and hurt him several times. But there's some mistakes Landwehr made. He had a chance to finish him on top, but he let him up and was doing this to the crowd, getting the crowd into it, which it was cool visual, but at the same time, not the smartest idea. There was a point at the end of the third round where he let Landwehr up, Onama up, and turned his back, was doing this, and Onama was caught him too. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I saw that. It was a bit of a mistake. All right. In the context of professional fighting, it is a bit of a mistake. But in the context of being a professional fighter, I don't know if that was a mistake. Because, he did let him back up, but that showed that the entire time he had complete octagon control. Even in the moments it didn't seem like he didn't have octagon control, he had octagon control, because he didn't let him up just once. He let him up 2-3 times. There were a couple moments where he got David Onama down, could have finished it, and then got back up, and then let him get back up while placating to the crowd, letting them know, hey, he wants to finish it on the feet. And it's, being the purist that you are, I understand where you're coming from. We're saying finish the fight.
Yeah, I thought he could have finished it. That's on the
He could have finished
the
fight. But at the same time, I think he also marketed himself well enough to know come and tune in for the next Nate Landwehr fight. And
Yeah,
who knows? Who knows, right? Because this is the other thing too that I just want to say. As much as he put himself in a position to finish the David Onama fight, but he didn't get the finish. Could he have really gotten the finish?
You know what? You're right, because he might have still been somewhat concussed, because Onama hurt him multiple times. Not only in the first round, but early in that third round too. That's a good point.
You add in the fact that he got rocked. He took all that damage in the first round, and then all the energy it took to ragdoll Onama, because Onama's a big man himself.
Right.
He's taller than Nate Landwehr, so as much as it took out of David Onama getting ragdolled in that second round, what was the what was the effort, and the stamina that it took out of Nate Landwehr to say, instead of going for the finish, I'm gonna do all this activity to tire you out and ragdoll you out. It was a gamble he took that paid off in the second round, just for him to even win the second round. So I think I don't know, as much as it looked good that, hey, I'm gonna finish this guy up on his feet, maybe he couldn't finish Onama because he didn't have the power, because he took all of that damage, and that he played it well enough to win this fight and get some ticket buys for his next fight.
Well, I think what got him to become a bigger name and get more people watching him and pay attention to his next fight was the post-fight interview with Cormier. That's, I think, did it for sure. Not if he hadn't done all that and did the post-fight interview, that would have done it anyway. But I see what you mean. And you also mentioned he was rocked the first round, early in that third round, in the end. Remember at the end, Onama called him, and he fell down. I thought he was gonna get finished, like Jorginho Rosenstruck or Alistair Overeem stuff, where Rosenstruck beat Overeem in final 10 seconds, despite Overeem dominating him for for most of that fight. He was Overeem was 10 seconds away from winning that fight. I thought this was gonna happen. I was like, oh, don't tell you Onama was gonna win this fight in the final seconds, pull off a miracle comeback, but he didn't, and freaking Nate Landwehr barely survived, and won the fight. And this was a crazy, chaotic fight. This is a contender for Fight of the Year. This is up there with Yuri and Glover. Not better than Yuri and Glover. No way. But it's a contender. It's not better than Yuri Glover. Yuri Glover is all-time great fight.
You know what's crazy though? I can't put this as a contender for fighter. Because there were no points. All right, Glover and Yuri. Remember, we reluctantly gave them 10. We reluctantly gave these guys the round.
Yeah.
There were moments in each round that each guy could have potentially swung and gotten around. But that second round was all Nate Landwehr. There was not one moment for David Onama. And it got so bad that his coach had to, hold his head up and ask him, hey, do you want to continue this fight? Do you really want to fight? Do you want to be here? And those guys said it on the commentary table. Bisping and DC said it best. It wasn't really a yes. It was just a lack of no.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But I think what makes it a contender is the third round. How he rocked and hurt Landwehr in the beginning of the third round and the end of the third round, dropping him. I think that's what makes it. That's why. I'm not saying it is, because you're right. That second round disqualifies it from being Fight of the Year, because Yuri Glover, any guy could have won any minutes. I'm not. You're right about that, but it deserves honorable mention. It should be considered contender of the year. It's not better than Yuri Glover. Yuri Glover, like I mentioned, is all-time great fight. This is a great fight, but not like Yuri Glover level, obviously.
Yeah. So this was a great co-main event to warm us up right into the main event, which is also spectacular. Two great fights back to back, and for David Onama, man, he just has to learn patience, because he emptied out the gas tank in the first round, and then he had to pay for it in the second and third round. But you just gotta learn patience. Yeah,
you're right, exactly. And sorry, I didn't mean to try to cut you off there, but yeah, you're right. And I'm surprised because Onama fought July 9th. Like, he fought like a month ago. And, you know, make a quick turnaround. And he was in decent shape. But, yeah, hopefully, yeah, he's got to learn patience and work on that gas tank because he's got power. You can tell when he landed punches, it rocked Nate. So Onama's got that power. Just got to work on patience and cardio. And he can be something in this featherweight division. And so can Nate Landwehr.
And here's the other part too. Sorry for cutting you off, but just what you spoke to, what he works on. It's patience, cardio, and mixing up the martial arts. Because if you have all this great power in your hands, sometimes you don't need to just be striking with your hands. Sometimes a leg kick can shift what you're doing with your hands. Sometimes a calf kick can do that. Sometimes faking a shot can make it easier. Sometimes if you go into the clinch, then boom, you can now learn to, mess around in the clinch and then, either keep a guy close and then push him away just enough to, get him in the range for a shot and then land it there. Like, there's a diverse way you can mix the martial arts. Don't be afraid to. Because like people are the next generation of athletes, we're seeing it more and more. These guys did not, we saw at some point how the sport evolved. Sometimes you had to be dominant in one good thing, and then that would get you, to a championship. Now being dominant in one area gets you just on the scene.
Yeah, that's actually
We see great strikers. It's enough to get them a contract, but then after that, if you don't work on anything else, you could be done, gone. Great wrestlers that come in because they know how to wrestle but can't strike worth a lick. They're well enough to get a contract, but then after that, if they don't work on anything else, they're done. So don't be afraid to mix up the arts, because I'm a fan of David Onama. Even after this loss, I want to see him again.
Yeah, I want to see him and Nate Landwehr again. Obviously, against different opponents after they recover, obviously. But Nate Landwehr post-fight interview was very entertaining, very good. Can't wait to see he fights next. And this is a guy who he might be the new Mike Perry, where his personality is entertaining, his fights are exciting, and you look forward to watching him fight. Kind of like with Mike Perry, you always look forward to watching Mike Perry fight. And he's got the skills. Nate Landwehr, he's definitely talented. Just got work some things and. Both of them can definitely do something in this featherweight division. It's a tough division, but still. But I want to mention they both got bonuses. Landwehr and Onama. Fight of night clearly deserved it. It deserved it. And I kind of feel bad for the next fight, because before this fight, we were all talking about how impressed the women's strawweight fight was, but these guys in the main event took some of that shine away. Not all of it, because you were still talking about it, but. It would have been a lot more if the co-main event the co-main event hadn't happened and the main event didn't happen the way it did. But we're gonna give them their proper respects. They're getting some of it, and let's give our proper respects to them between Yasmin Jagui and Yasmin Lucindo. Well, I'll say Jasmine. Okay, my thing is this: I always call girls Jasmine instead of Yasmin. It's just a personal preference of mine. But yeah. But Jasmine Yaraguli wins via unanimous decision, 30-27, 28-28, and all three judges' scorecards. And this was a very great fight for two young ladies. They're both super young. I mean, Jasmine Lucindo is 20, and Jasmine Yaraguli is 23. They're young women. They're not that 20 and 23. And they gave us some very shows a lot of skills, and you realize the future of the strawweight division is these two ladies. That's what I saw on this fight. I mean, do you agree with me there?
I agree 100%. Like, watching this fight, you saw these two going, and like Bisping said it best. It's one of those moments where you're kind of upset that the matchmakers made this fight so soon, because these two were not supposed to meet right now. They were supposed to meet later on down the line and hype it up and make it bigger. But then again, sometimes maybe these two meeting is supposed to happen this early, because it helps both of them build their career to what we think is supposed to be. And that's how highly of an opinion we have of these two ladies. They are the future of the female strawweight division, because like the striking was excellent. The attempts to go into grappling was excellent. Everything was game point professional. and it was impressive to see, refreshing to see. Like, you can tell that these two ladies take their craft seriously, and this was a highly skillful matchup. It's like it's not even moments I can take away from this fight, because it was just one big moment. You're watching this fight and going, damn. Like, it was a great match. It was a highly entertaining matchup between these two ladies. Especially the striking between these two. It was just so fun. It was fun watching them strike against each other.
Yeah, it was fun, and Jasmine Lucindo. I sorry, I'm gonna do that time. It's the first thing I do. Anyway, Lucindo definitely had a lot of power in her shots, and so did Jagui. She had some power too, but she landed a couple of shots that really rocked Jasmine Jagui. But Jagui looked like the more technical striker of the two. And I think that's what's the big difference, was that the more she landed a lot of left hooks in that fight. Jagui landed a lot of left hooks that hit Lucindo, and I think that was the difference. The being more technical striker and landing those left hooks, what won her the fight, in my opinion. Even though Lucindo did throw some kicks, I found mistaken, that did land. I think that third round particularly, and then she did rock on Jagui in the third round, but like I said, Jagui was a more technical striker, and now just a little bit more, and that was the difference. And that's what won the fight. Go ahead.
It's more technical, and I think another term to, because this is what they were both accurate, but Jagui was just a hair more accurate.
Yes, yep, you're right.
Saw it; it showed. Like this, they were both accurate, but Jagui, like the technicality plus her accuracy, made it look so much better for her. And if these two meet up again down the line, I wouldn't be surprised if it's because they're both in the way of each other's championship aspirations.
Yes, I agree. I was to say, these two meet again, they're both going to be ranked. They're both going to be ranked, and they're in the way of each other's championship aspirations. Either as title eliminator, or maybe one's champ and the other one's going for the title. I won't be surprised. I'm not saying, I'm not guaranteeing it, but don't be surprised next 5 years this is the case. I'll say that for sure. Don't be surprised next 5 years for these two are headlining card or co-main event.
Give it 3 to 5 based on activity.
Right, exactly. And Stride Division's already the deepest division in women's MMA, and now it just got deeper with these two young ladies. I mean, it's crazy that Lucindo was 13-4 at 20 years old, 13-4 in her MMA career, professional MMA career. And I think Brazil, you can fight earlier than 18. I know some countries, guys are fighting under 18 in pro MMA bouts. I mean, Rory McDonald fought at 15 in pro MMA debut in Canada. I mean, some places it'd be like that, so it can be possible. But 13-4 at 20 is just crazy. And Jasmine Jagui is now 9-0 at 23, and I just learned that she's a mom too. Which I'm like, oh dang, she's we talk about Julia Pena being the first mom champion and things like that, and sometimes being a mom doesn't have to destroy your career. It doesn't have to, even if you have it young in your career. And Jasmine Jagui is an example of that. 9-0 in UFC, made her debut, won against a tough opponents, and I can't wait to see these two ladies fight again. And how about the crowd? That crowd gave Jasmine Jagui her love. Considering it's San Diego, it's 20 minutes from Mexico, especially Tijuana. She's from Tijuana, which is it's like right there, Tijuana and San Diego. Look at the map.
She was able to give a shout out at the end of the matchup. DC gave her the opportunity. It's like, yo, you're 20 minutes away. Give a shout out to your people. Let them know. And the crowd was on fire for it. Gave her lots of love, rightfully so, because she put on a show. They both did.
Yeah, they did. Both of them. Can we see both of these ladies fight again? I cannot wait. And shout out to the translator. That translator is very good. I like that translator a lot.
I got to get his name because he's a legend amongst the UFC fans.
Yeah,
he's a legend.
Yeah, I think people call him the Giga Chad translator, and I agree. He's the Giga Chad translator, definitely. As we can move on to the next fight on this card, because this was a good performance. Azad Murakhan defeats Devin Clark TKO in the third round. Asma looked like he was the better striker. He just was. I mean, though that left he just kept landing that left straight on Devin Clark, and as he kept landing it, Devin Clark's recovery time kept getting slower. Now Clark did rock to him at the end of the first round, though. I'll give Clark credit. Rock Asad Murzarov, and Murzarov try to hold on to him in grappling exchange in the clinch to avoid any more damage, which was smart, and he survived. But Murzarov just kept hitting him with that straight left and other shots to the point, and Clark just kept taking them. And it was the point where Clark was trying to run away, doing the auxiliary substance like the call, trying to run away from your opponents, and it just didn't matter. Murzarov just kept hitting him. And then the third round, hit him with a left, and then start attacking the body and hit him with a beautiful left hook to the body that put him down. And I'm a sucker for body shots, as those of you know, and that was beautiful to watch. And that body shot landed, it was game over. Just what a great victory for Murzarov on the main card of a UFC fight night. And as he goes to, I think, 12-0 now. Against a guy in Devin Clark who's a known name in the light heavyweight division, who's a guy got power himself. Shout out to Azamat Murzarov, and I hope I'm not butchering his name too.
Azamat Murzakhanov. Like you said, it was a great performance by him. It sucks for me because I'm a Devin Clark fan, and I wanted to see him at least put on a better performance, but to me, man, it didn't even matter about win or lose. It just, the performance was really bad for Devin Clark because he was taking so many pictures for no reason. I know the left kept hitting him, but at some point you got to do something. You got to go into the land of danger and at least try and mix up the fight a little, make it dirty, go in the clinch, get some body shots here and there, space out of the clinch. Make the fight dirty. Make it work for yourself, because he had his moments when he would advance forward. That's the only, he had split little moments against Azamat when he decided to just move forward. He kept trying to counter off the left and he kept getting hit, and he could not count. He couldn't find the timing for it for the life of him throughout this fight. And the only time he saw any modicum of success was when he moved forward. So it was just a bad night for Devin Clark, man. You can't be patient. You gotta see it. You gotta see it that you being patient, especially throughout this whole time, it wasn't working for him. Moving forward was your best chance, and it's just disappointing.
Yeah, you can't be going patient against a guy who's being patient himself. Azat Murzarov looked like a light heavyweight Pierre Yan. He did, the way he fought, it was kind of like Pierre Yan-esque, and some people were saying he's like the light heavyweight Pierre Yan, which I agree. The way he fought, it looked like Pierre Yan light heavyweights, and he kind of looks like him. If you ever see a picture of Azat, look at his face and then look at Pierre Yan. He looks like Pierre Yan's uncle, basically.
Yeah.
They look very similar. I know they're both Russian, but they do look kind of similar. It's not just, all Russians look alike thing. No, they actually do look kind of similar type of vibe. But yeah, this was a great victory for Azat Murzakhanov.
Murzakhanov, yeah.
Murzakhanov, excuse me.
Yeah.
Murzakhanov. I don't know why I was trying to say his name there, but yeah, or my voice cracked rather. But yeah, great victory for him, and 2 back-to-back great knockouts. His last fight, he won by a flying knee knockouts, and now he wins by a body shot. You better watch out for his hands, because his hands, his kicks, his knees are deadly, and I think he will be a ranked heavyweight next year, and end of next year.
Oh yeah, and it's gonna be interesting seeing him amongst those light heavyweights and what he decides to do when he gets his next opponent, and how he moves up, what those opponents looks like, and how the whole division shakes out.
Yep. We move on to the next fight in this card, which is in the women's women's flyweight division, right? Or straw? Yeah, women's flyweight division. Priscilla Cachoeira defeats Erin Litsky via TKO, 1 minute and 5 seconds in the first round. And Cachoeira rocked her right, and Erin Litsky decided to just trade and not really, try to recover or do something else. And train with Cachoeira, who's got a lot of power in her right hand, was not the smartest decision. It backfired. She landed a couple, and then go ahead.
Here's the crazy thing, right? I'm sorry for cutting you off. I don't want to say it wasn't the smartest decision. she made a gamble off of education based on the tape before. Remember when I said this about this fight with Cachoeira versus Lipski? I was afraid of what Cachoeira was going to do was just try and walk through Lipski's punches, because Cachoeira has a tendency to do that. She thinks her chin. I'm not, discrediting her or anything. It's not to say that her chin isn't stronger than what she thinks it is. It's just that damage does stack up over time. And really, the object of the fight game is hit and not get hit. You kind of want to leave there, less touched than you'd like to be. Right. So, when Lipski decided to trade with her, it wasn't just to, say, hey, I have macho power. It's just that she was hoping her defense was good enough to try and slip some of Cachoeira's punches. Plus, if she could rock Cachoeira in a way that felt comfortable for her, then she would have been able to, continue on and get the victory that she was looking for, because Priscilla wasn't going to back down. Even if she gets rocked, she does not back down.
That's true. I mean, she just caught on to Zombie by Cranberry. She's like her nickname is Sully Zombie.
Girl.
Zombie Girl. There we go.
She wants to walk through damage.
Right, but it's saying, yeah, it backfired tremendously on Lipski.
It backfired tremendously.
She got rocked and then dropped, and then it was good night. She was covering up, even though like some of the shots from Cachoeira weren't landing. Some did, a lot didn't, but she was like done. Like she was just frozen like this, hands cover, and to the point where Herzog just had to wave Cachoeira off. And shout out to Jason Herzog, best rep MMA. But yeah, it was a great performance by Cachoeira, but at the same time, it's just I don't know. I see what you mean, what Lipski was trying to do, but I'm not sure it was the smartest idea, because I think
I don't want to say it wasn't a smart gamble. It was a bad gamble. It was definitely a bad gamble. And looking back on it, you're absolutely right. She shouldn't have traded with Priscilla. She should have just moved out of the way, recover, and get to striking in distance and try and get your rhythm back, because then she would have been able to do what I thought she had the ability to do. And she does have the ability to do it. It's just that she made a bad decision in that moment.
Right. And great victory for Cachoeira.
Yeah.
And we can move on to the first fight in the card, which is in the middleweight division between Gerard Meerschaert and Bruno Silva, as Gerard Meerschaert wins the fight via submission, guillotine choke, and third round, 1 minute 39 seconds. And what happened to Bruno Silva? What happened to him? We threw punches. They were sloppy, and I was like, it was like, this is a guy who did great against Pereira, who you thought beat Pereira, but here he just looked like a different fighter. What the heck?
I'm gonna tell you something right now that probably maybe I shouldn't accuse him of, but I'm gonna say it. I don't think that his preparation was the best coming into this GM3 fight. Because if you looked at Bruno Silva, if you looked at the shape his body came in for this fight versus that Alex Pereira fight, you see two different Bruno Silvas.
Yeah.
Like coming into this fight, he was way slimmed down, and maybe he slimmed down to try and, keep up with GM3, but the preparation was off somewhere, because the color in his body was gone. He was way slimmed down, way lighter. The tone in his muscle wasn't there. His striking, like you said, was very, very sloppy. And he kind of just coasted throughout until GM3 finished him.
Yeah, and GM3 he looked like the great striker. I mean, I mentioned Bruno Silva's got a lot of knockouts, and I thought he was gonna knock GM3 down because of GM3 being knocked out by Hamza and Bruno being a consistent middleweight. I thought that would play a factor, and we did against Pereira. But nah, GM3 was outlanding him, threw some good body shots, body kicks, and was able, and I think if I'm not mistaken, he dropped Bruno Silva, and that led to the guillotine choke, if I'm mistaken, correct?
Yep.
Yeah,
and he rocked him. I think he got him with the right hand, got him with the right hook, was trying to go for the strikes finishes with the left hand when he came up close, but then decided Bruno was too close, so said, you know what, forget about it, let me just choke this sucker out. And then he choked him out.
Yeah, I mean, this was just a bad performance by Bruno Silva. I mean, GM3 did what he's supposed to do and win. You know, he did his job, but man, what the I see, I almost want to cuss.
No, go ahead, bro. What the fuck? It was a terrible.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. That's only I can say. Is what the fuck? I have to say it. That was freaking awful. What the fuck happened to him?
That was a terrible performance. But not only that, like and part of this I want to also attribute. We haven't mentioned it yet because they I wanted to wait until the end. Well, this was the first fight on the main card, right?
Yes, it is. It is.
Yes. All right. So then I might as well mention this. I think from now on, if the UFC is going to do an event in this arena, you got to choose the right fighters, because the humidity in that arena was so crazy that when people tried grappling, the sweat, they were already sweating from the first round. Usually the first round gives you some advantage in the grappling where, hey, neither guys are sweating right now. So if I want to get a lock on a guy, I could really get a lock on him. Everyone came in that octagon sweating. They were sweating like crazy. So and DC and Bisping kept hammering the point, like, yo, it's really hot in here. DC had his own little battery power fan, and he's like, hey, if the batteries run out of here, guess what? We're in big trouble, boys, because I might not stay here for the rest of this event. Like, it's that hot.
I heard about it was very humid in the arena in San Diego, which is odd because I live in Florida and it's humid here in Florida, especially during this time. It was just raining earlier and it's probably humid like big time here in Orlando, but San Diego, it's not known to be humid like California, especially Southern California. And it was like 79. They showed the weather in San Diego. It was like 79, 80 in San Diego during the day. I'm surprised it was humid. I expect it's like in Florida. Like, what happened to the AC or something? Did it go out or? That's
the other part too, is that I would have thought that at the very least they would have put some AC on in the building. But then again, maybe because in the earlier part of the preliminaries, is the seats aren't filled like that. People can come into the event, but you can see a lot of empty seats. So I guess people aren't there and they don't turn the AC on. But they should have turned that AC on from the jump, because those guys, you know, everyone is you saw the gas and exhaustion out of every fighter roughly around the second to third round. They were unless you were in tip-top shape like some other people were, then you weren't going to escape that arena, you know, looking your best. And that's probably what also was a contributing factor to Bruno Silva. But man, oh man, shit show for him.
Yeah, hopefully he can bounce back.
Yeah,
this was a very entertaining card, a very great card, and this was an A.
I had to give it an A myself.
A for especially the main card, definitely an A.
The main card is an A.
Great, I mean, great opener. You know, exciting opener, a great main event, excellent co-main event. I mean, my goodness. And then the women's strawweight fight between Jasmine and Yaguri, Jasmine and Lucindo. I mean, both women had a great show.
Treat. It gave us a treat.
Also, Asmad Mirzakhanov, excuse me. Great victory. I mean, great performance. A nice body shot, which I'm happy to see. I mean, great performance. Brazil Cachoeira had a great knockout. I mean, this was good, very good card. Entertaining.
There's someone I have to shout out in the preliminaries.
Go ahead.
And this is to just go back to the David Onama fight. Josh Quinlan versus Jason Witt. First round knockout from the left hook. I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if you saw this knockout.
I did not.
Oh my God, Austin. Okay, Quinlan's a striker.
All right.
He's going orthodox stance. You see the tenseness because it's his UFC debut.
All right.
Jason Witt, he's been here before. so he knows some things. He's, he's feeling him out. He shoots on Quinlan, lands some strikes on him, this, that, whatever, throwing some kicks. He gets him into the, into the clinch, throwing some shots, got him down, but Quinlan's able to get back up. They're fighting along the cage, and then Quinlan gets the better of the clinch and it separates, right?
Okay.
Jason Witt, he's a dancing forward. He throws a 1-2, and then throws a left body kick.
Mm-hmm.
Quinlan meets the body kick with the left hook. One hit knocks out Jason Witt. He's laying down on the ground. Quinlan goes down to follow up, and the ref lands at the same time he does. He could have gotten the last hit in for, just for good measure. He stops and just rolls over.
Oh, damn. I'm watching that after we end the stream.
Everyone is like, yo! Like, the crowd went on fire. This was, bro, I'm surprised. Wait up. I got to check to see if this got a bonus as well, because this should have. It didn't get a bonus.
Oh.
Because the next knockout after it got a bonus.
Yeah, Tyson Nam, yeah.
That one got a bonus. But this one should have gotten a bonus as well, because Josh Quinn. And then, to make matters, I don't know if to make it better or worse,
right,
or funny.
Okay, go ahead.
He gets interviewed by DC.
Mm-hmm.
And DC goes, man, that was a left hook that was money. Were you guys working this throughout training camp, knowing that he was going to come in with the left body kick? It's like, yeah, my trainer was, he was teaching me about it. We were going through it through the game tape. We kept working at it over and over and over. So this is something that we definitely expected. He goes, and then you had the opportunity to follow up with the shots for good measure, and you just didn't do it. Why not? And Josh Quinlan looks at DC and says, hey, man, when I'm in the octagon with these guys, I'm not trying to hurt them. My brother.
Sure, okay.
I think he was just so surprised off of the way he got the knockout that when he asked him, why didn't you follow up with the shots? The only thing he could say was like, I'm just not trying to hurt him. When in all actuality, if your mind isn't where, you just say, I realize I got the job done. He's out cold. That's it. But he said, I'm not trying to hurt him. And then Bisping was like, Josh, I'm sorry to tell you, you may have hurt the guy.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not trying to hurt him, even though you hurt the guy. You're in the sport. I get what you mean, but it's like you're in a sport where you have to hurt your opponent, your competitor.
Clearly, you hurt him, man. That was an amazing knockout. You got to check it out.
I will.
Josh Quinlan.
I will. Oh man. Wow. Good card. Anything else you want to mention before we preview UFC 278?
We already mentioned it as well. Tyson Nam, he had a great knockout, a performance of the night bonus against Ode Osborne. He caught him with a counter right hook after Ode Osborne tried a flying right knee. That was a great performance by Tyson Nam there. And also Gabriel Benitez, ground and pound in the first round. That was a great performance there by Gabriel Benitez.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do want to mention. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Wait.
No.
Wait. I was gonna say I disagree with the judges on the Martin Buday against Luiska Berninski fight. I think the judges got that completely wrong. I think it's a terrible judging decision. I think it's probably arguably the worst judging decision. That or Calvin Kerr or Josh Emmett won, because I don't see how the second or no, I think it had rounds 1 and 2. There's 2 rounds that are clearly Brzezinski rounds, clearly, And I don't know how they gave 2 rounds to Martin. That was a terrible one, a really bad one. If you watch that fight, 'cause I saw that fight, I was like, if you watch that, that's pretty bad judging. Just want to mention that.
Yeah. Another fight I want to mention, because this was a good fight. Angela Hill versus Lupita "Lupi" Godinez. Lupi loses to Angela via a unanimous decision, and Lupi, you got to take the tape home with this one, because you had it. You had it and you let it slip. This one is, and I'm a fan of Lupi now, and you had this one. You had this one in the bag and you let it slip. That's the only thing I wanted to say.
I agree. Anyway, that's our coverage of UFC San Diego Chito Vera versus Dominick Cruzs fight night. Great card, very entertaining main card. I mean, that's some good prelim moments. I'm definitely gonna check out a knockout once the stream's over. But we gotta move on and preview next weekend's pay-per-view, UFC 278, live from Salt Lake City, Utah. It's main evented by Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards. A rematch as these guys fought before on December 2015. I was actually at that show. I actually came in at the end of the Usman Edwards fight. That was like the second fight of the card, and I came in like at the end as Usman guy was announced the winner. And I know people were booing because they were not happy with the performance, not because they thought Edwards won. I just didn't even have the performance. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. I was there at that card. That's a crazy thing. But anyway, enough about me. Let's go talk about this fight. Usman wins. Obviously won the first fight. Usman is going to become the champion, defend the belt. Leon Edwards is on a 10-fight unbeaten streak. He's won 9 fights. I know the one was a no contest. That was 10 fights. One was no contest against Bilal Muhammad, where he eye poked him. Whereas end because of eye pokes. But both guys have been on the roll since that fight. And Leon Edwards is a plus 270 favorite in the money line. Kamaru Usman is a favorite, minus 330, as I see here. And I don't blame him. I think Kamaru Usman should be the favorite, because I'm not high on Leon's other people. I think he's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. He's definitely won a lot of these fights, but he hasn't done anything to make me impress me to where I go, wow, this guy could definitely be a champion. This guy can give a lot of these dudes some problems. I'm just not high on Leon's other people, and part is also his personality. Kind of annoys me at times, Leon Edwards. He just does. It's like, it's okay. You're good. It's just like, oof. I mean, don't get me wrong, good fighter, but good striker. But at the same time, how's this wrestling defense going to do? Because in the first fight, it cost him against Kamaru Usman. Now, Usman doesn't wrestle as much as he used to, but Usman still got that wrestling. And I think Kamaru Usman, I think he knows that he has that advantage. He's going to, during the takedowns, to set up possibly a right hand or something to catch Leon Edwards. Kind of like we did with Masvidal, where the takedown threat scared Masvidal to the point where Masvidal let himself open to get knocked out. I think that's what Kamaru Usman is going to do. And I think Usman should retain this title. I mean, my thing is this. If Kamaru Usman, to me, Alexander Volkanovski is the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter. He's what he did Max Holloway. And Usman wants to get that back, to me, he needs to destroy Leon Edwards, in my opinion, in order to get that pound-for-pound ranking back from Volkanovski, in my opinion. And I do think Usman will win this fight. And I do wonder how his hand's going to feel, because he got hand surgery after the Covington fights, and I know he's relying on his striking lately. So I wonder how that's going to play. But I think he should use his wrestling in this fight, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely right. I'm in agreement with you there. But one thing I am going to say, let me hold off on that.
All right, go ahead.
You're absolutely right. Kamaru Usman should win this one-handedly. There's been no performance that Leon Edwards has had where it has made me go, wow, this guy should be contending for the title right now. If anything, it kind of feels like he's contending by default. It sucks to even say that, but at the same time, it's like there's been not one moment where I think anyone has kind of said, yo, Leon is the number 1 definite contender, and we're skipping him over, and he deserves a shot. if anything, it kind of feels like, yeah, there's no one else for Kamaru right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know the Nate Diaz fight doesn't help considering he got rocked and almost finished by Nate in the 5th round.
Not help his case at all.
No, and I don't think Usman, if he rocks Leon's gonna do points and laugh and taunt him and then go after him. I don't think he's gonna do that. I think he's actually gonna get the job done. But yeah, I mean, upsets can happen. Obviously, it's MMA. It's sports so damn unpredictable. But I just don't see it. I think if Usman does what he's supposed to do and fights the way we know he's capable of, I think he should get the victory done. Now, I won't be surprised if he's a late stoppage, like a 4th round, 5th round stoppage. I wouldn't surprise me if that happens. I can see that, in my opinion, Usman.
Yeah, but I don't think it. It won't stop as earlier as 3rd round. 3rd round. I'd give Leon Edwards 3rd round.
Yeah, I agree. We're in agreement. Usman should win. I mean, he's the minus 330 favorite, rightfully so.
Okay, now here's the other thing I wanted to say.
Right.
You think that a domination of Leon Edwards should get him back that pound-for-pound ranking?
Yes.
I don't think he's ever lost it.
Right. I think, okay. I see why. He hasn't lost a fight yet. Yeah.
Not only that, but granted, Volkanovski had a great performance against Max Holloway. He also had a great performance against Korean Zombie Chang Sung Jung. He had a great performance against Brian Ortega.
Right.
The Brian Ortega one sticks out to me. The second Max Holloway fight sticks out to me. The first Max Holloway fight sticks out to me. And there's been no fight in Kamaru Usman's reign yet that, where I finished watching that fight and I went, you know what? I think this other guy beat Kamaru tonight. There's been none.
That second Covington one, I thought it was a draw. I think the judges got that one raw. I don't agree with the judge. When I watched it back, I was like, ooh, judges got that one wrong. The second,
I don't think that one was a draw. I really think Kamaru Usman won that fight.
we're gonna have to disagree on this one. But I see what you mean. That
so then, look, you understand the closest that an opponent has gotten with Kamaru Usman is a draw.
Yeah, I see what you. Yeah, that a draw.
And Volkanovski's debatably lost the belt against Max Holloway at least twice.
I don't know about twice. I don't know about the first one. I don't.
The first fight, I don't think he There's arguments for both 2 fights. The first 2 fights is arguments for both of them. And I know Volkanovski just put on these great performances, but that was just recently. Kamaru's been doing this the entire run.
I see what you mean. I think we're going to disagree on this one. I still got Volk. I think, in my opinion, Usman can win it back this Saturday. Figure that back, but I think we're going to have to disagree on this one. I mean, we can move on to. Anything you want to mention about the main event before we talk about the co-main event?
We can move on to the next.
Co-main event is between middleweight division between Paulo Costa and Luke Rockhold. As Paulo Costa, he's slimmed down. Looks like he looks in better shape. There's some pictures of him. It looks like that he won't pull the crappy poll against Vanderford Tory, where last second, 205 and not cutting weight and all that stuff. Remember Paulo Costa? Remember? You know what I'm talking about.
You said he's not going to pull it.
I don't think so.
We still have plenty of time before the fight happens.
After what happened with the controversy and Dana White's reaction, I don't think he's going to be arrogant enough to try that again. I don't think so. Especially remember, go ahead.
Look, I don't think so either. But with a screw up like this guy, you got to give him enough rope to hang himself.
I don't think so. I think he will try and make weight. He's going against Luke Rockhold, a guy who at one point was the middleweight champ. At one point, he was the best middleweight in the world, but he just hasn't been the same. I mean, ever since losing to Michael Bisping, he's only won 1 fight, and he's been knocked out. Like Bisping knocked him out, left foot Larry. Yoel Romero really knocked him out badly. Jan Blachowicz gave him that Polish power, that legendary Polish power, and I think they had another fight as well. I'm trying to remember. It's Romero, Bisping, Jan, and I think he fights. I'm trying. Let me check. I'm checking his record right now.
Nick Rodriguez. No, that's
No.
a grappling.
Oh, it's
No, that's
grappling.
it. That's
Okay,
it.
so
Bisping, Romero, and Blachowicz.
oh wow, it hasn't fought in 3 years. Damn, I didn't know it was that long.
Yep.
Damn. He's going back. I remember he went to light heavyweights and didn't work out. He's going back to middleweights, and Rockhold, talent-wise, skill-wise, is a better fighter than Costa in terms of his peak, in terms of striking, grappling, wrestling. I mean, everyone talks about how legendary his top game is. If you get on bottom of him, you're screwed. I mean, I've heard stories from Cormier and Josh Thompson, aka guys, talk about how good he is when he's on top of fighters. I mean, he beat up Chris Weidman once he got on top of him in their fights. But that chin, man, has been tested. It's been damaged. Bisping did it. Romero and Jan Blachowicz really messed him up badly. And Paulo Costa, we know, has got power in his hands. He can knock a dude out. I mean, that's what he did most of the opponents. Romero was lucky, but he threw a lot of powerful shots. And Marvin Vettori's chin is he's got iron chin. That Marvin Vettori, that's what he's got. Survived some of the shots he took from Paulo Costa in his last fights. And I can see why Paulo Costa is minus 280 favorites. And I think Paulo Costa's got to knock out Rockhold. The chin, not just the layoff. It's more so the chin than the layoff. It's what really concerns me about Luke Rockhold in this fight.
I'm agreeing with you 100%, and I'm not that confident in Paulo Costa. But if there's one thing I know about Paulo, is that he's got power and he's going to be able to exercise that. I agree with you there. I can't bring anything else to this fight. You said it all.
Yeah, I just hope that hopefully Paulo Costa fights more than once a year. But that's on their video in of itself.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the bantamweights. So they're fighting this card. Important bantamweight fight. We're talking about Chito Cruz. This is another big. This next 2 months are a big deal for bantamweights. The Cruz Vera fight. Then you got this fight. Then between Merab and Jose Aldo. And also you got Sonya Dunn, Corey Sandhagen. Then of course UFC 280. The title fights between Sterling and Dillashaw and Pierre Yans and Sean O'Malley. These fights this bantamweight division is definitely it's important. It's the highlight division next 2 months in UFC, and it's the one of the big fights. Aldo comes at plus 100 favorite. Merab Dvalishvili is a minus 120 favorite. So it's very competitive. The odds are very, very close. And I agree. I understand why Merab's the favorite, because Merab's younger, 7-fight win streak, come off that impressive comeback victory against Marlon Rice in September, which I can't believe it's been since September since the last fought. Marlon Rice almost finished him that first round, came back and finished Marlon Rice in that second round, gassed him out. And all those come off that impressive victory with Rob Font in December. And one thing about Aldo, he does well against wrestlers, especially wrestlers who don't have great striking. And Merab, as great as a wrestler he is, and he has a great gas tank, his striking is not the best. And Aldo does very well against those guys. And although we've seen it's still pretty damn good, even at 135 later in his career, he's still a legit contender. And if Aldo can beat Merab and look dominant, look great, even finish him, I think Jose Aldo will fight the winner of Sterling and Dillashaw. And I'm leaning towards Aldo in this fight. Even though when surprised Merab wins, I think this. If I was a gambling man, which I'm not, I would bet on Aldo. Not saying you should. I'm just saying this is what I would do.
I'm telling you guys, you should bet on Aldo. Aldo is gonna win this fight. You can, if he loses, then you can come back next week and tell me you gave me bad advice instead, whatever. He's not putting his neck out on the limb. I am. I think Jose Aldo is gonna win this fight. He's looked better and better and better. I think the only thing that has stopped him so far from being that number one altruistic contender is that he hasn't gotten a lot of finishes. A lot of his fights has gone to decision. So if he can get a finish, this would be a big one. And I think Merab he's a guy that's shown, especially during that Marlon Moraes fight, he can get finished. I know he was able to withstand and all, but he can get wobbled. And if there's one thing I know Aldo won't do, he won't blow his gas tank on trying to get a finish. He's going to still be, very studious, very, patient in his approach. And when he knows he's got you, that's when he's really going to put it on you. and he's gonna put it on you in a smart way. So I got Aldo winning this fight. If he wins via finish, then that makes a big statement, and I think he really puts his name up there in the contendership, even though he already should be as the number 3 ranked.
Yeah, exactly. I can see this. I can see Aldo win like 2 rounds to 1 this fight. But if he gets that finish, I mean, it's basically him versus Dillashaw and Sterling. He might as well just be a backup. If he takes no damage, he might as well just serve as a backup fighter for that title fight. I know Chito Vera's talking about. Actually, I take that back. It's not that fight. I'm confusing Chito Vera, Volkanovski being the backup fighter for Islam and Charles on that same card.
Yeah.
But yeah, if Aldo takes no damage, is fresh as a daisy, why not just serve as a backup fighter for Dillashaw and Sterling in case something happens? But I think we're in agreement. We expect Aldo to win.
Yeah.
We can move on to the next fight in this card in the heavyweight division team. Marcin Tybura and Alexander Romanov, as Romanov the minus 335 favorite against Tybura. Romanov is undefeated. He's 16 or 15-0.
16-0.
16-0. I mean, Romanov is a guy who looks like the next contender in this heavyweight division because he's nicknamed King Kong, which I like that nickname, King Kong. It's a great nickname for him. He beat Chase Sherman by submission pretty easily. I think
handedly.
He picked him up, right? Was he the one? It was him who picked him up, right?
Picked him up, slammed him down, and then got him into an Americana.
Yeah, and right. This guy's got he's only had 1 decision. He tends to finish people. Usually submission, 9 submissions, but he also can knock you out. He knocked out Jared Vanderford badly in October. And I can see why he's a favorite because this guy looks like the real deal. Like he could be a guy in the top 5 next year. And if he eventually beats Tybura, it definitely get closer to that ranking. And
Tybura's had some great performances recently. I know he lost against Volkov in a unanimous decision, but he's even in that fight against Volkov, I know Volkov kind of outstruck him here and there, stayed outside, but other than that Volkov loss, he was coming off a 5-fight win streak. Sergey Spivak won that fight. Maxim Grishin won that fight. Ben Rothwell, that was a dominant performance. The Greg Hardy performance, that was dominant. The Walt Harris performance, that was also dominant as well. So this is going to be a very interesting test for Alexander Romanov.
Yeah, I agree. And Tybura is a great test for him because Tybura, like you mentioned, was on a win streak, but then Volkov lost, derailed him. But Volkov is pretty damn good. I mean, you beat Volkov, you're elite. I mean, and Tybura is a very capable fighter himself. I like Tybura. It's very, very entertaining for the most part. He can win, knockouts or grappling or different ways to win. And it's a great test for Romanov. Great test for him. I think Romanov will win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tybura wins.
I was about to say, this is the land of heavyweights. We both know if there's any land where an upset can happen, this would be it, especially in MMA where one punch can change anything. But if we're both saying that this guy is a good test for Romanov, then I think we're both in agreement that we think Romanov is going to win this fight.
Yeah, I think so. I'm excited to see these. I like Tybura, entertaining, and Romanov's impressed me. The next contender in this division. I mean, it's pretty good for heavyweight having contenders now. I mean, you got multiple contenders, Spivak and Pavlovich, and you got Romanov, especially these Eastern European guys, and also Tom Aspinall when he recovers from England. I know he's not like a contender. He's already like an established guy, but still seeing these younger heavyweights, exciting time.
Mm-hmm.
As we come on to the light heavyweight division between Tyson Pedro and Harry Hunsucker? Yeah, Hunsucker. Yes. In the heavyweight division. Tyson Pedro is the biggest favorite at minus 750. I think he's the biggest favorite ever on the card. And Tyson Pedro, I've seen him fight. He's a very talented fighter. He took several years off after a loss to, I believe it was to Shogun. Yeah, he lost to Shogun and took like 3 years off. I know he had some injuries and everything. Came back in April and won via KO, leg kicks and punches to Ike Villanueva back in April. And And Pedro is very talented and got lots of submission victories. And I'm not too familiar with Harry Hunsucker at all. I'm not going to lie. This is an introduction for me about him. But I know how good Pedro is. And he's definitely got a lot of talent. Sure, he trains with Tai Tuivasa or Mark Hunt. Or both, actually. It's one of those two guys, I believe. So he's definitely got good training partners and one of those guys. You know, Mark Hunt's older, but Mark Hunt's been there, done it, can teach him, what to do, how to get through, deal with being a MMA fighter and especially it's ranked and all that. So I always surprised Pedro wins, but I'm not too familiar with Harry Hunsucker though.
One thing, well, you probably, you won't be familiar with him because he's coming down from the heavyweight division. He fought Tai Tuivasa and Justin Tafa. Both of those were losses via TKO, so he's kind of remodeling himself. I think he's going into trying to find out if the light heavyweight division could be his division. We don't. This is a guy he's about to change himself and enter the division, so we don't know. Maybe he's coming there on short notice, or maybe he's trying to reinvent himself. That's why Pedro really is the favorite. There's too many unknowns with Hunsucker, but yeah, I'd have to be in agreement there. Not only is there too many unknowns, but the last time I saw Tyson Pedro, that was a very impressive victory.
Yeah, it was. And I expect, I wouldn't surprise Pedro wins. Good fighter from Australia. I thought his last name is kind of weird. I mean, his last name is Pedro, but he's a Polynesian guy from Australia. That's cool name, but kind of weird. I don't think, unless there's some Spanish blood I don't know about, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah, people move around.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, but good fighter though, Tyson Pedro. See what he does. And that's the main card of UFC 278. Any prelims you want to mention before we end the stream?
There's two fights I'm looking out for. Number one, the preliminaries main event, Jared Gordon versus Leandro Santos. That's a big fight for me. I'm looking out for that one. Second fight on this card, I'm looking out for it because one of our favorites is back. Miranda Maverick versus Shayna Young in the flyweight division. So I'm interested in those two fights there.
Oh, yeah, Miranda Maverick. Yep, definitely. I forgot she's on the card. I look forward to that. And also Francisco Figueiredo, the brother of Davidson Figueiredo, going against Amir Albazini, as Amir is the favorite. But I do want to see Francisco Figueiredo, see if he can climb in the flyweight division, which is very odd that him and his brother find the same division, but it is what it is. I mean, if Francisco gets on a win streak, we'll see if that conflicts with Davidson. Like I said, Francisco needs to get on a win streak first. But I'm excited to see Francisco Figueiredo. That's the that and Miranda Maverick fight I'm excited to see.
Oh yeah, but all in all, this card, I'm excited for this one. Kamaru Usman is back, man. This guy, he's the pound for pound king for me, man, and I can't wait for him to put it on display there. I believe the prelims start at 6 p.m.
Yes, 6:30, I believe.
Prelims start at 6:30 p.m. and the main card starts at what 8 o'clock, 10 p.m.
Main card and the regular prelims 8 p.m. Sorry.
Yep. And this is a pay-per-view, ladies and gentlemen. So please get ready to purchase that pay-per-view and enjoy this because this card is stacked. It's stacked. You got some things that need to be decided, especially between the bantamweights there. You got some decisions to make right here in the in the middleweights as Paulo Costa. We don't know is he even gonna show up on weight. There's a lot of mystery here. And then Kamaru Usman, the return of the king, man. Let's go.
Yeah, this is a solid card, solid main card, some good prelim fights. I mean, this is better than that UFC 279. Oh my god, don't get me started on that. I might make a whole nerd video about 279. But anyway, 278. Excited for that. Good card, good main event. Good, interesting co-main event. Good bantamweight fight and good heavyweight fight. That's like I said, a good card. I'm excited for that. The pay-per-view starts 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, and prelims starts at 8 p.m. The main prelims 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and early prelims is 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific. Look forward to that.
Bellator is taking a break this week, so there will be no Bellator. I finally get to watch Friday Night SmackDown, man.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Either way, thank you guys for watching, listening to us on YouTube, Rumble, on podcast platforms, Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, Reason That Fans, Spreaker. Appreciate the love support on those platforms. Thank you guys so much. We're just two fans breaking down the sport we love so much, and it delivered. This was a great weekend. Can't deny it.
Yeah, most definitely. Andre in the chat, thank you so much for stopping by, checking out the YouTube video. Maria, thank you so much. Kelvin, the mayor, salute. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you guys so much for joining us wherever you are, man. And we'll be back next week to break down some more MMA.
Yep. See you guys later. Have a good night, good day, whatever time watching this, and we'll break down next week. Peace.
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are